Hello and namaste and welcome back to Temples, Books and Science. My name is Archana Raghuram, since many of you have asked. This is the fourth episode in our ongoing series exploring the Lalita Sahasranamam, 1,000 names that reveal the divine glory of the goddess Lalita Tripura Sundari. In the first three videos, we uncovered the hymn's divine origins, delved into the cosmic drama of Bandasura, and explored the radiant beauty of the goddess's face. Today, we continue our journey. The Lalita Sahasranamam now draws our attention to Lalita Devi's graceful neck. The 30th name is mangalya sutra shobita kandara. This name means she whose neck is adorned with a sacred thread tied by Lord Kameshwara. This name evokes a sense of love, devotion, and the sacred bond between the goddess and her consort. The Mangala Sutra, a symbol of marriage and commitment, represents the eternal union of Shiva and Shakti, the masculine and feminine principles that create and sustain the universe. But it's more than just a symbol. The strength of her mangalyam is powerfully demonstrated in the Puranic story of the churning of the Milky Ocean. Imagine the scene. The Devas and Asuras are churning the cosmic ocean in search of Amritam, the nectar of immortality. Suddenly, from the depths of the ocean emerges a deadly poison, Halahalam. This poison is so potent, so destructive, that it threatens to annihilate the entire universe. Even the Devas, the immortal gods themselves, flee in terror. But Shiva, in his infinite compassion, steps forward to save the world. He scoops up the deadly poison and swallows it. But the poison is incredibly potent. It begins to burn his throat, turning it blue. The universe holds its breath, fearing the worst. But then Parvati acts swiftly. With her unwavering devotion and the power of her love, her Pativratyam, she clasped Shiva's neck, preventing the poison from spreading further. And so Shiva remains unscathed, protected by the strength of her Mangalyam and the sacred bond they share. This is one of the reasons we worship Goddess Parvati during Sumangali Puja, honoring her unwavering devotion and her role as the protector of her husband. This story beautifully illustrates the power of love and devotion to overcome even the deadliest of challenges. It reminds us that the goddess's strength lies not just in her external power, but also in the depth of her love and compassion. Beyond the story, there is also a deeper meaning here. This name, Kamesha Mangalya Sutra Shobita Kandara, draws our attention to the goddess's neck. There is a deep yogic symbolism connected to the neck itself. In yogic traditions, especially the Kundalini Yoga, the neck is the location of the Vishuddhi Chakra, the fifth primary chakra. This chakra is associated with communication, self-expression, and the ability to speak one's truth. It is the center of purification and creativity, where we connect with our authentic voice and express ourselves with clarity and integrity. The goddess, adorned with the mangalyam tied by Lord Kameshwara himself, embodies this open flow of energy through the Vishuddhi Chakra. Her adorned neck symbolizes clear communication, authentic self-expression, and the harmonious connection between the head and the heart, between wisdom and love, between the divine masculine and feminine principles within each of us. If you're interested in learning more about the Vishuddhi Chakra, I have actually done a post on it in my Navaratri Golu series. You can find the link in the description below. This name reminds us that the path to liberation involves the integration of these seemingly opposing forces within ourselves. It's through the union of wisdom and love, of head and heart, that we can truly realize our divine potential and experience the bliss of oneness with the ultimate reality. We now move our attention to the goddess's arms, bedecked with radiant ornaments. The 31st name in Lalita Sahasranamam is Kanakangada-Keyura-Kamaniya-Bhujanvita, which means she who has beautiful arms adorned with golden bangles and armlets. This name evokes a sense of elegance, grace, and divine adornment. The golden ornaments symbolize the goddess's abundance, prosperity, and the auspiciousness she brings to the universe. But these aren't just any ordinary arms. They are 4 strong and majestic arms, powerful enough to protect the entire universe. Yet, they are also the gentle arms of a mother, embracing all beings with love and compassion. That's the beautiful symbolism of her 4 arms, armed with weapons and also adorned with jewels. They represent the strength that is born out of love. They represent both power and tenderness, the ability to create and the compassion to nurture. This name reminds us that the goddess is an active force in the universe. Her arms, adorned with golden ornaments, represent her ability to create, sustain, and protect all of creation. Now we come to the 32nd name, Ratnagraiveya Chintakalola Mukta Palanvita. This name, shimmering with the brilliance of precious gems, describes a necklace that graces Lalita Devi's neck. It means she who is wearing a necklace with a pendant made of gems and pearls that sway playfully with her every thought and desire. The necklace, with its shimmering gems and pearls, symbolizes the abundance and splendor of the universe, reflecting the goddess's power to manifest all desires. Her pendant rests near her heart, swaying with the rhythm of her heartbeat and breath. In Kundalini Yoga, the heart is the location of the Anahata Chakra, the center of love, compassion, and connection. This chakra is associated with our capacity for unconditional love, empathy, and forgiveness. It's a bridge between our lower earthly chakras and our higher spiritual chakras. You can find more details about the Anahata Chakra in my Navaratri Golu series. I have provided a link in the description. The pendant of Lalita Devi's necklace, swaying gently near her heart, symbolizes the awakening of the Anahata Chakra. It represents the flow of divine love and compassion that emanates from her heart, embracing and nurturing all beings. The swaying movement of the gems and pearls suggests that the goddess is responsive to our thoughts and prayers. She hears our desires, our hopes, and our aspirations, and her heart moves with compassion to fulfill them. She is adorned with the jewels of our devotion, and her heart responds to our every call. The Lalitasahasranamam now guides our attention to the goddess's breasts, symbols of nourishment and abundance. The 33rd name is Kameshwara Premaratna Maniprati Panastani. This name, filled with tenderness and devotion, describes the goddess's breasts as a precious offering to her beloved. Kameshwara Premaratna Maniprati Panastani means she whose breasts are like jeweled cups, offered in return for the love of Lord Kameshwara. This name beautifully portrays the reciprocal love between the goddess and her consort. Her breasts, compared to jeweled cups, symbolize the precious offering of her love and devotion to Shiva. In return, she receives his boundless love and affection. She is a Mahapativrata, the epitome of devotion and fidelity, and their bond is a source of inspiration for everyone. There's a beautiful story that illustrates their deep connection. It is said, one day Shiva awoke from his sleep to find Parvati sleeping peacefully beside him. Her one arm was draped across her breast, and as she breathed, her arm and breast gently rose and fell with the rhythm of her breath. It was a vision of such ethereal beauty that it stirred something deep within Shiva's heart. Captivated by this vision, Shiva felt a surge of creative energy. He decided to capture this moment, this essence of Parvati's divine form and the melody of their love in a unique musical instrument. And so he created the Rudra Veena. He envisioned her arm as the long, slender neck of the Veena, her breasts as 2 rounded gouds that amplify the sound, and the music that flowed through the instrument as the expression of his timeless, boundless love for her. That is why Rudraveena is considered so special. It was created by Lord Shiva himself as a tribute to the beauty of Goddess Parvati, and it was played for the very first time by Lord Shiva himself. That's why Rudraveena is said to have spiritual powers, its music carrying the essence of their divine love. This story beautifully captures the spirit of the name Kameshwara Premaratna Maniprati Panastani. The goddess's breasts offered to Shiva are not just a physical attribute, but a symbol of her love, devotion, and the divine union that creates and sustains the universe itself. The Lalita Sahasranamam continues the description of the breasts in the 34th name. Nabhya lavala romali latapala kuchadvai. This name, rich with imagery, compares the goddess's breast to fruits growing on a vine that emerges from the pit of her navel. Nabhya lavala romali latapala kuchadvai means she whose breasts are like fruits growing on a vine of fine hair that emerges from the pit of her navel. This name evokes a sense of natural beauty, fertility, and abundance. The goddess's breasts, described as fruits on a vine, symbolize her role as the nourisher of the universe. She sustains and protects all beings with her boundless love and compassion, just as a mother nourishes her child. Her breasts represents her matrutvam, her motherliness. But the breasts of the goddess are not just a source of physical nourishment. They also represent spiritual sustenance, the milk of wisdom and knowledge that awakens the soul. There is a beautiful story about Thiruñāna Sambandar, one of the 63 Nayanmars, who are great Shaivite saints. Legend has it that as a child, Thiruñāna Sambandar was breastfed by the goddess Parvati herself. This divine milk is said to have granted him extraordinary wisdom and poetic talent, making him one of the most revered saints in the Shaivite tradition. This story highlights the importance of goddesses' breasts as a source of both physical and spiritual nourishment. They represent the abundance of her love, wisdom, and grace which she bestows upon her devotees. Interestingly, in our tradition, the breasts of the goddess are often represented as the sun and moon themselves, symbolizing their power to nourish and sustain the world. Just as the sun and moon provide light and life to all beings, the goddess nourishes and protects the universe with her boundless love and compassion. This name, therefore, is not just a description of the goddess's physical beauty, but a symbolic representation of her role as the nourisher of the universe, both physically and spiritually. The Lalita Sahasranamam now draws our attention to her slender waist. The 35th name is Laksharoma Latadhara Tasamunyeya Madhyama. She who is suspected to have a waist because of the creeper-like hairs arising from there. This name, filled with poetic imagery, playfully suggests that the goddess's waist is so slender that you cannot really see it. You can only infer its presence because of the fine hairs that rise from it. This name evokes a sense of elegance, beauty, and the delicate balance of the goddess's form. You may think it's just a poetic way of saying that the goddess has a slim waist, but there's a deeper meaning here, a connection to the very nature of reality. The navel is often seen as the origin of creation, the center point from which the universe unfolds. As the Vedas proclaim in the Purusha Suktam, Nabhya Asid Antariksham, from the navel of the cosmic being, space emerged. The creeper-like hairs arising from the navel represents the entire manifest universe, the objects that emerged from space like the stars and the galaxies. Now the waist on which the navel rests and which surrounds the navel represents something beyond space, something that's even more subtle and elusive. It's the unseen principle upon which the entire universe rests, the foundation from which both space and the manifest world emerge. Just as we can only infer the presence of the waist by observing the fine hairs that emerge from the navel, we can only infer the presence of this unseen principle by observing the manifest universe, all the stars and the galaxies and the space that contains them. It's the invisible foundation upon which all of creation rests. This name invites us to contemplate the deeper layers of reality, to go beyond the visible and explore the subtle underlying principles that govern the universe. It reminds us that there is more to existence than meets the eye, and the true knowledge lies in understanding the unseen forces that shape our world. The Lalita Sahasranamam continues to celebrate the goddess's form, now drawing our attention to the delicate curves of her abdomen. The 36th name is Sthanabhara Dalanmadhya Pattabandha Valitraya. This name, with its descriptive imagery, speaks of the 3 graceful folds that adorn the goddess's abdomen. So, Sthanabhara Dalanmadhya Pattabandha Valitraya means she who has 3 folds in the middle of her abdomen, forming a natural belt that supports the weight of her breasts. This name evokes a sense of beauty, grace, and the natural perfection of the goddess's form. The 3 folds on her abdomen are not just physical attributes, but they symbolize the harmonious balance and exquisite proportions of her divine body. This connects to an ancient Indian tradition called Samudrika Lakshana. It is the art of reading facial and bodily features to understand a person's character, personality, and even their destiny. It's like a map of the human body where each feature reveals something unique about the individual. This ancient practice has its roots in the Vedas, and it was developed and refined over centuries by sages and scholars. In Samudrika Lakshana, certain features are considered particularly auspicious, and 3 folds on the abdomen are one of those lucky signs. They are believed to indicate good fortune, prosperity, and a harmonious nature. So, the Lalita Sahasranamam, by describing these 3 folds, is not just appreciating the goddess's physical beauty, but also highlights her auspicious qualities and her role as the bestower of blessings. The name Sthanabhara Dalanmadhya Pattabandha Valitraya also marks a significant point in our journey through Lalita Sahasranamam. It signifies the end of Madhya Kutam, the second part of the Panchadashi mantra. Remember how we discussed the Panchadashi mantra in the last video? It is the heart of Sri Vidya, and the goddess's form is considered the personification of this mantra. The Panchadashi mantra, which has 15 syllables, is divided into 3 parts. The Vagbhava Kutam, which is her face, represents creation. It contains the first 5 syllables of the Panchadashi mantra. This is the part we explored in the last video. The Madhya Kutam represents sustenance or preservation. This is the section we are concluding now, having explored the names associated with goddess's upper body. The Shakti Kutam represents dissolution or withdrawal. This is where we are headed next as we move to the description of the goddess's lower body. The name Sthanabhara Dalanmadhya Pattabandha Valitraya, which describes the 3 folds on the goddess's abdomen, corresponds to the last 3 syllables of the Madhya Kutam. So, as we move forward in our exploration of Lalita Sahasranamam, we will be delving into the names that describe the goddess's lower body and the energies associated with the Shakti Kutam. Before we conclude our exploration of goddess's upper body, I want to draw your attention to a fascinating pattern within Lalita Sahasranamam. It's a pattern that reveals a profound truth about the nature of the goddess and the ultimate goal of this sacred hymn. Recall how the Vagbhava Kutam, the first part of the Panchadashi mantra, concluded with the name Anakalita Sadrishya Chubaka Shri Virajita. This was the last name describing her face. This name describes goddess's chin as possessing an incomparable beauty, unlike anything else in the universe. It's a curious description, isn't it? While other features of her face were compared to various objects, her chin stands alone, beyond comparison. Similarly, towards the end of Madhya Kutam, the second part of the Panchadashi mantra, we encounter the name Laksharoma Latadhara Tasamunyeya Madhyama. This name describes the goddess's waist as something so subtle and elusive that it cannot be directly seen. It can only be inferred by the fine hairs that arise from it. Both these concluding names point to something beyond the grasp of our senses, something that cannot be fully described or comprehended. They hint at the ultimate reality, the pure consciousness that lies beyond the realm of form and name. The Upanishads eloquently describe this ultimate reality as something that cannot be grasped by our senses. Yattadadreshyam agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshushrodram tadapani padam, proclaims the Mundakopanishad. It speaks of the formless, attributeless nature of Brahman, the ultimate reality. It reiterates that consciousness cannot be perceived by the senses, something that transcends all limitations and descriptions. And understanding this is the central purpose of the Lalita Sahasranamam. It is a journey into the depths of consciousness, a quest to realize that which is beyond description and comprehension. The Lalita Sahasranamam, through its evocative names and symbolism, guides us towards this realization. It invites us to go beyond the limitation of our senses and intellect, to dive deep into the heart of consciousness and experience the ultimate truth. So, when you finally understand the goddess, when you truly grasp the meaning of her 1,000 names, you discover consciousness itself. This is the reason that both Vagbhava Kutam and Madhya Kutam conclude by alluding to this ultimate reality. And with that, we come to the end of another exploration into the beautiful world of the Lalita Sahasranamam. I hope you enjoyed this journey so far. But our journey together isn't over yet. There are still so many more names to uncover, so many more layers of meaning to explore within this sacred hymn. Om Shri Matre Namaha. Namaste.